Hey everyone, welcome to Simplilearn. Today we will learn about the Power BI interview questions and answers. So Power BI is one of the most trending BI tool in the business industry today, and most of the data analysts are supposed to have a comfortable understanding of Power BI tool. So if you are about to attend an interview for a data analyst or a Power BI developer, a small set of Power BI interview questions and answers are found to be the most frequently asked questions. So those important questions will be dealt in this particular session today. Before we get started, if these are the type of videos you'd like to watch, then hit that like and subscribe buttons and the bell icon to get notified. Just for a quick info.
Craving a career upgrade? Subscribe, like, and comment below. Dive into the link in the description to fast-track your ambitions. Whether you're making a switch or aiming higher, Simplilearn has your back.
If you want to upskill yourself and master data analytics skills and land your dream job or grow in your career, then you must explore Simplilearn's cohort of various data analytics programs. Simplilearn offers postgraduate programs from Purdue University in collaboration with IBM. Through this program, you will gain knowledge and work-ready expertise in skills like prescriptive and predictive analytics, regression, classification, and over a dozen others. That's not all, you also get the opportunity to work on multiple projects and learn from industry experts in top-tier product companies and academics from top universities. After completing these courses, thousands of learners have transitioned into a data analytics role as a fresher or moved on to a higher-paying job profile. If you are passionate about making your career in this field, then make sure to check out the link in the pinned comment and description box below to find a data analytics program that fits your experience and areas of interest. Now, without further delay, let's get started with the interview questions for today's session. Firstly, the first question is, what are the different types of filters in Power BI reports? So, if you are an experienced candidate or a beginner, these type of interview questions are the ones which you're definitely going to face. So, coming to the answer, what are the types of filters you'll be facing in Power BI reports? So, there are three main filters available in Power BI, which are visual level filters, page level filters, and report level filters, which are almost self-explanatory. So, if you want to be someone who stands out of the group, just mention a couple of more like slicers, which can also act some type of filters there, right? So visual filters, page filters, and report level filters are the three main types. And if you want to add onto it, you can also add in some slicers. Right now, let's proceed to the next question. Explain DAGs in Power BI. So what exactly is the meaning of DAGs? And to improvise your question or to improvise your answer, or if you want to outperform, you can also explain with some of the explanations or implementation of DAGs in your nearest examples. Like if you're a beginner or if you're a fresher, if you're working on a portfolio, then you can give the example of your DAGs implementation on that portfolio. Or if you're an experienced candidate, just explain your latest implementation of DAGs in your previous projects. So the answer for this question is, DAX is basically the full form for data analysis expressions and is a formula language used in Power BI, Power Pivot, and SQL. DAX includes functions, operations, and constants that can be used as a formula expression to calculate and return one or more values. So DAX, just understand it in this way, right? So if you are about to perform an analysis, or if you're about to extract some insights, for example, you own a superstore, right? And you wanted, okay, let's assume that you own a superstore and you have 5 regions, north, south, east, west, and central, and you are providing products from a few categories, let's say IT, mobile phones, desktops, everything. And now you wanted to identify one zone which is giving you highest sales in mobile phones, and you wanted to identify one zone which is giving you least sales in mobile phones. In such scenarios, you can just write up a formula equals to mobile phones product and products minus products which are less than a specific number you actually wanted to identify products less than 100 mobile phones, right? You just want to know if there is any region which is selling less than 100 mobile phones, then you can extract that. So the expression what you're writing there is nothing but a DAX expression. So apart from this example, you can also put up some complex examples if you're an experienced candidate, or if you're a fresher, then you can come up with some DAX expressions that you build on your portfolio projects. Moving ahead, we'll discuss the third question. How does Power BI integrate with other tools and services? So there might be a situation where you might have to get connected to different sources of data, right? So let's say you wanted to import Excel data as well as some service like a cloud service. You want to extract data from a cloud service as well. So how can you do that? And if you want to do that, can you do it, right? So that's the question. So basically this is a kind of question which comes up from two different zones. Can you integrate or can you connect to two different sources of data? Or in case if you can connect, how to connect, right? So it's like, is it possible to connect? There's also a question to beginners to test your knowledge on the fundamental knowledge on Power BI. They want to know if you can connect data from two different zones. It's not like two Excel sheets. They want to know from two different platforms altogether. Let's say I have data in Azure. Let's say I have data in SQL. So can I connect them both? Yes, you can do that. So the answer for this question is Power BI offers extensive integration capabilities with various Microsoft products like Azure, Excel, SQL, and some third-party services as well, like a website, any application, or a database, SQL databases, Excel spreadsheets, and other cloud services like GCP, AWS, etc. So that's possible. So you just have to, let's go for a demonstration on this, not a complete demonstration. Let's cancel this. So here, if you just, it's just like a overview how to connect. So here, if you see, we have Excel workbook, semantic models, data flows, data was SQL Server, web, OData, feed, blank query, and if your source is falling different from these available ones, you can just click on more and select any one of these options right here, correct? So with that, let's get back to the next question. What are the differences between Power BI Desktop and Power BI Service? So the terms are self-explanatory. If you're an experienced candidate, then you can define the answer right away. But if you're a beginner, especially if you're a fresher, then you must be a little cautious here. So if you are building your portfolio, if you are learning the fundamentals of Power BI, then you are doing it using Power BI Desktop, right? But if you are a professional or an experienced candidate, then you are developing the interactive dashboards, you are developing the interactive charts and graphs and everything, and you are providing that visual, only the dashboard to your end user, who's your client. So in that scenario, your client will be given the Power BI service module, right? So they will be having a service access only just to watch the visuals. So the answer for this question is Power BI Desktop is a free application. So it's not completely free. So there are situations where you might have to deal with some huge data, or you have to deal with some parameters like security, everything. In those scenarios, you might have to go with the licensed version. So for a learning purpose, it is a free application installed on a local system that lets you connect to transform, visualize, modularize your data, and few more implications that you can do. And on the other hand, Power BI Service is a cloud-based service that allows you to share, as discussed, only to share and collaborate on and distribute your Power BI reports and dashboards with others within your organization. So client is partially a part of your organization because he has some business to do with your organization. So basically, understand it in this way. Power BI Desktop is something which allows you to build. It will give you the blocks, you build the visualization, and then you give a screenshot or you give a picture of that particular build to the end user. He can have a visual on it, how it is performing. He doesn't have to worry about how it is working in the background. He doesn't have to worry about how big or how large is your data set, how it is extracting, what API is it using, he doesn't care about it. All he cares about is the vision, how is his business doing. So in that scenario, if you just want to give a picture, that's when you use the Power BI service. Now let's go with the next question. How do you handle security in Power BI? So this is a question given to the experienced candidates. So you can think about it about the access, row-wise access. Let's say you are the leadership team, and next is the manager, next is the individual contributor, correct? So here the full access, the full visuals of your business, how your business is going on, how are the leads, how are the revenue, how is the RPL, how is the traffic, everything is visible to the leadership or the manager, correct? But when it comes to the IC or individual contributor who is just working on traffic, he will have access only to traffic, not the leads, not the revenue generated, not the RPL and everything, because he has nothing to do with it, and that is something which you can't reveal to an IC for data security purposes. So you can also consider this in the way of inheritance, right? So you can divide it based on the level of the employee, right? So level wise, you can provide the access to your employee, to your manager. If you're a developer, let's say, so based on the employee level, based on the manager level, based on the leadership team, you can give separate access to separate candidate. So the answer for this question is Power BI provides row level security RLS, which allows you to control access. So you're basically controlling the access to the data for different users within your organization. You can define rules on the dataset that filter the data based on the user role. Additionally, Power BI integrates with Microsoft Azure Active Directory to provide authentication and authorization. Now, the sixth question. What is a content pack in Power BI? Content packs are a type of package that includes a related set of dashboard, report, and data elements they use to share insights, reports, and datasets with colleagues and organization within a broader audience. Power BI also offers organizational content packs, which allows users to quickly connect and analyze data from popular business applications. So basically, content pack, you can imagine content pack as a set of charts, graphs, or a complete dashboard or dataset elements. So when you integrate all those inside a bubble, that particular bubble can be considered as a content pack. Now moving ahead, we have the seventh question. Describe a scenario where you improvised performance of a Power BI report. So let's say this is so basically, before we answer this question is for an experienced candidate, not for an intermediate or not for a beginner level, right? So if you are someone who has 3 to 4 years of experience, that is when this kind of questions are suited. So explain a scenario where you improved the performance of a Power BI report. So there are certain scenarios where, let's say you're working with business data, Amazon sales data. So you have Amazon sales data or any other data for a beginner purpose. Okay, let's say some XYZ company. So you're working with XYZ company and you have a sales data from a past couple of years. And your client asked you, last year this particular dashboard was working fine, but down the line when we entered the new quarter or new annual year, I can see there is some discrepancy or I can see there is some delay for the Power BI dashboard to load. Now there can be multiple reasons for this. The first reason could be the hardware setup, or maybe the data is increasing day by day, so the hardware is not supporting. So that could be one reason. And provided if there are some visuals which are already created, visualizations or graphs or dashboards, and we are not mostly using them, so those can be one of the reasons. So in these scenarios, you can just give some explanations which you already faced in your current organization. For example, like you can say the client is not willing to scale up the hardware, like the data hardware which stores the data or something like that. He's not ready to scale up the hardware, but he wants to use the same hardware, but he wants you to increase the speed. In this scenarios, you can eliminate the data which is not currently in use. Let's say you're using 2020, 21, 22, 23 and 24 data. Now all you focus on is the year-on-year growth. So you just need 2022, 2023 and 2024, not 21 and 20, right? You can erase that data from your existing hardware or servers. This will ease up the load on Power BI and automatically there should be an increase in speed. Another one, if you have already created some visualizations which you're not currently using, let's say you already created 2 to 3 dashboards and you rely on one dashboard alone, not the rest of those two, you can delete those visualizations. So something like that which can help you. But to consider this question as an assignment, I would like the viewers who are an experienced data analyst to answer the question in your way possible so that the viewers can benefit from multiple answers. So you can write down few scenarios where you face this problem and how you solved it. It can be a one-line answer, it can be a points which you can mention, right? A set of points which you can mention that helped you to improve the performance of your Power BI end report. So the answer for this question which I have is, in one scenario, I improved the performance by optimizing data model, reducing the number of unnecessary columns and rows in data sets, and utilizing summary tables to decrease the data volume that needed to be processed. I also replaced complex calculations in the report with simpler ones which were possible and used direct query mode for real-time data requirements to speed up report loading times. So this can be a good answer. You can also add up some answers from your end as well to benefit the viewers. Now let's go with question number 8. Explain the difference between a measure and a calculated field. So this can be an important question for freshers especially, right? So me personally, I've asked this question to the candidates many times. So the answer could be a little tricky, right? So most oftenly the question can be asked as what's the difference between measure and a calculated column, or measure and a calculated field, or measure and dimension, right? So the answer should be like this. Just pay attention to what the answer, interviewer is asking you and answer wisely. If he's asking you the difference between measure and dimension, it's clear, self-explanatory. So something like measure is something which can be measured. The number is a measure. Let's say the salary is a measure. The average of marks obtained is a measure. Marks obtained in a specific subject is a measure. Rate of interest is a measure. Traffic is a measure, right? So when it comes to dimensions, something like a character data type, maybe, and name of the store, and let's say we had various regions in the previous question, north, south, east, west, central. This particular data which cannot be measured is called as a dimension. Now for this question here, what's the difference between measure and a calculated column? So calculated column is something which you generate out of a calculated field, right? Whenever you try to, let's say you have the quantity and you have the price, but you don't know rate of each product, correct? In such scenarios, you can write up a calculated field and build a new column called rate of product. That particular column is a calculated column, which is newly generated after writing a calculated field. So the answer for this question is, calculated column creates a new column based on existing data using formula. It adds to your new, it's added to your existing table as a new column, as we discussed. Measure creates a dynamic calculation that summarizes your data. Measures are used in visualizations to analyze trends or answer specific questions. Now with this, let's move on to the next question. Describe the process of publishing a Power BI report to service. Now this can be an answer for both, this can be a question for both freshers as well as experienced. So now you can give it a try. You can give me the answer for this. You can write down your answers in the comment section below. And everybody has their own way of answering this question. But as simple as that, let's keep it normal. Now in Power BI Desktop, go to Publish and choose Power BI Service. Select the workspace to publish and configure settings like sharing access. Click Publish to upload your report to Power BI Cloud Service. So this is the answer given by most of the experienced candidates. But when it comes to freshers, it's okay if you answer in this way. create multiple charts, create multiple graphs, understand the requirement of the end user, build the required charts and graphs, integrate all those charts and graphs to the dashboard. It's also a good way to tell it, but if you're an experienced candidate or if you're a beginner, just try to include these points as well. Just go take a step ahead and go a step further and answer. Include these points in your answer. Go to publish, select Power BI service, select workspace, right? So these will enhance your answer and make you stand out from the other crowd. Now, let's continue with the 10th question. How would you handle missing data in Power BI? So this can be answered for both, this can be asked for both beginners as well as experienced candidates. So it's obvious if you're a data analyst, it's obvious that your data will not have completely filled rows and completely filled columns, right? There is a possibility that you might have blank rows. There is a possibility that you might have blank cells. There is a possibility that you might have irrelevant data. There is a possibility where it can be a typing mistake and you might insert special symbols in place of numbers and special operators in place of alphabets. Everything is possible. So in such scenarios, how could you handle, right? So there are multiple approaches. So let's say if you are going through some column which you feel is not mandatory to create your report, you can ignore those cells and you can just delete it. And in case of there is a discrepancy in your existing data and you find that is important, then you can always have a way to go back to the source who provided you the report or who provided you the data, as to complete them, as to give them the right number. Or in few scenarios, you can also, if you don't want to eliminate any kind of rows and columns, you can also have an option of taking an aggregate value in it. Maybe the minimum value, maybe the maximum value, may be an average value in that particular missing cell. So there are multiple possibilities, and if you feel like adding those answers, you can also feel free to add them so that everyone is benefited. So my kind of answer is there are several ways to handle missing data. Filtering, where you can exclude, simply that's the first one, you can just ignore those and exclude those missing values. Replace missing values with some aggregate values. Custom logic, create a DAX formula to address missing values based on specific scenarios. Now let's move ahead with the next question. How do you connect multiple data sources to a Power BI report? So the answer is Power BI allows connecting various data sources. You can directly import, directly use live connections, or create composite model to improve and combine data from different sources. So this is not just the Power BI dashboard. You're here, it's not just the Power BI desktop. You're not just importing data. It's related to the real-time dashboard report. So if you have a report and you ought to connect some external source, some real-time streaming data, you can do that using some live connections and APIs. Now let's move with the next question. What are data flows in Power BI? So the answer for this question is data flows in Power BI are cloud-based preparation and management tools that allows users to ingest, transform, integrate, and enrich big data from various sources. They are designed to simplify data preparation and enable scalable data integration and storage across multiple Power BI projects. Now, the 13th question. How can you handle data updates in Power BI? So, this is also one of the simplest but also the trickiest question. Let's say you already connect. Let's say we are dealing with Excel data, and your client provided you the Excel data and you already created a dashboard out of it, and out of your knowledge, you don't know, right? You might not know what happened after they shared you the data, and the client gets to know there is some discrepancy here, there is some irrelevant data, or there is some missing value in the data provided to you, and they add it and you missed it, correct? In those scenarios, how can you handle data updates, right? You can either refresh. So there are multiple answers for that. So let's go with the answer. So data updates in Power BI can be handled through scheduled refreshes or real-time streaming datasets. Scheduled refreshes. So let's say you provide some 6-day or 1 week or 1 day based on requirement. You provide a scheduled refresh and it will act upon it, and it will refresh its source every single time. It basically refreshes the dashboard you created. It will extract the data from the source and it will create a new report out of it. So scheduled refreshes can be configured in Power BI service, allowing data to be updated at specified intervals. Real-time streaming datasets can be used for dashboard tiles that require continuous updates. Now, the 14th question on our list. Can you explain the concept of a slicer in Power BI, right? So those who already are comfortable with the Excel, they might know the answer for this. So it's completely similar, right? So let's discuss the answer. A slicer is a Power BI visualization used to filter the data. Basically, it's nothing different from filter, right? It's just an option like a drop down that you create in Excel using the data validation. That's the same in Power BI as well as Excel. You just have a slicer option where you can provide your selection and it will give you an end report. So basically it's a filter. So it provides a way for users to filter the data that is displayed in other visualization on a report page. Slicers offer a more interactive and intuitive way to make selections and see the data that changes dynamically as selections are made. Let's say you have class 10, class 9, class 8 and you wanted to just check the results of class 8. You just select the option of class 8 on the slicer and you have the report. So that's how it basically works. Now, the last question for today's session. What is direct query in Power BI? So the answer for this question is direct query is a connection type in Power BI that allows you to directly connect to a supported data source, enabling real-time reporting capabilities without importing or copying data into Power BI while it offers up-to-date data. It also limits certain functionalities and might impact performance based on the query load on the source system. So with that, we have finished the top 15 Power BI interview questions and answers that are frequently asked in a data analyst interview provided for both freshers as well as experienced. Should you feel that we missed out on any of the important questions that you might have already faced in your previous interviews, please feel free to let us know in the comment section below, and so we can have them answered, or you can also provide us the answers so that it can benefit both of us and also the viewers. Now, having said that, we have come to the conclusion of this session. Should you have any queries regarding any of the topics covered in this session, or if you require the resources like the PPT of questions that we enlisted in this session, or if you have any other concerns, please do let us know in the comment section below, and our team of experts will be happy to address them as early as possible. Until next time, thank you for watching and stay tuned for more from Simplilearn.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.